November 24th, 1971. 10,000 feet above the Pacific Northwest, 36 passengers, one storm, and one man in a black suit about to erase himself from the earth. He sips his bourbon, he lights a cigarette, and he hands the flight attendant a folded note. It isn't a ransom demand. It simply tells her he has a bomb in his briefcase and asks her to sit down beside him. His demands: 4 parachutes, $200,000, and he jumped into a freezing storm, straight into history. Portland, Oregon, Northwest Orient Flight 305, a 30-minute hop to Seattle. He pays cash, $20, and gives a name that will haunt the FBI for 50 years. Dan Cooper. Now, here's a detail that has haunted researchers for decades. In 1971, there was a Belgian comic book hero named Dan Cooper, a Royal Canadian Air Force test pilot. Those comics were never sold in America. So how did this man land on that exact name? Mid-40s, business suit, raincoat folded neat, sunglasses, at night. He looks like every anonymous salesman who ever flew coach. He is not. Flight attendant Florence Schaffner takes the note and assumes it's a phone number. She pockets it, doesn't even look.
Miss, I think you'd better read that note.
And in 4 seconds, a routine Wednesday evening becomes a hostage situation at 10,000 feet. He opens the case. She sees what look like red cylinders, wires, a battery. He closes it. Nobody knows to this day whether that bomb was real. And watch what he does.
What do you want?
He doesn't grab her. He doesn't threaten her. He invites her to sit down. That's the whole trick. Politeness is a weapon.
$200,000 in 20s, 4 parachute, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle.
A screaming man makes you fight. A calm man makes you obey. The demands go to the cockpit. The cockpit goes to the ground. And within the hour, the FBI, the Seattle police, and the airline's executives are all awake and all terrified.
Flight 305, confirm the threat is credible. Say again, we've got 36 souls on board and a live device in the cabin.
And here's what makes him a legend. While the entire American aviation system loses its mind, he orders another bourbon and calmly pays for it. He tells her to keep the change. He never raises his voice. He never says a threatening word. He doesn't have to. He has already won. And everybody on that plane knows it. For 2 hours, they circle Seattle in the dark, burning fuel, waiting on money that doesn't exist yet. And most of the passengers still don't know. The crew calls it a minor mechanical issue. 36 people sit there, annoyed about the delay, 40 feet from a bomb. 10,000 $20 bills, every serial number photographed, every single one traceable. 21 pounds of paper, and the FBI's only real weapon. 5:39 p.m. SeaTac. The money has arrived. The trade. Cooper gets his $200,000 and 4 parachutes, and in exchange, he releases all 36 passengers. They walk down the stairs into the rain, most of them still unaware that they'd been hostages, and Cooper keeps the pilots, the flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant, Tina Mucklow.
Mexico City, wheels down, flaps at 15 degrees, stay under 10,000 feet, and fly slow.
Every word is surgical. Gear down, flaps 15, because the 727 has a staircase built into its tail, and it can be lowered in flight. But then, the captain gives him a problem. They can't make Mexico at that altitude. They negotiate a refueling stop, Reno, Nevada. He agrees instantly, and then he makes the choices that argue against him. He takes 2 parachutes. One is a military-style emergency chute, and the other is something nobody would want to discover after jumping. It was a training parachute, sewn shut, completely unusable as a parachute. Did Cooper recognize the mistake? Did he know what he'd been given? Or did he simply never realize? Nobody knows. What we do know is that he also cut cord from another parachute and used it with the ransom money. 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 lifts off into the storm again. Behind them, 2 F-106 interceptors scrambled out of McCord Air Force Base, but keeping visual contact is difficult. The 727 is flying unusually slow, while the fighters struggle to stay with it through the darkness and cloud. The cabin is dark, the weather is closing in, and from the outside, nobody can see what is happening inside. He sends the last flight attendant forward, tells her to shut the cockpit door. She looks back one last time. Then the door closes. She never sees him again. Nobody does. And now Dan Cooper is completely alone in the rear of the aircraft. 21 pounds of cash lashed to his body with parachute cord. 8:05 p.m. A light blares in the cockpit. The aft stairway open, and a 200-mile-an-hour ice storm comes screaming up the tail. Freezing air, raining, no helmet, no goggles, business shoes and a raincoat, and underneath him, no lights, no roads, no towns, 2,000 square miles of wilderness. He stands at the edge of the world. 8:13 p.m. The plane suddenly drops.
Something just left the aircraft.
And just like that, Dan Cooper steps into the void and into the record books. Reno, 10:15 p.m. The 727 comes down with its tail stairway still hanging open. Agents storm the cabin, weapons up. They find a black clip-on tie, 2 of the 4 parachutes, 8 cigarette butts, and nothing else. No wallet, no prints they can match, no face anybody can agree on. Those cigarette butts carried his DNA. Decades later, when the technology finally existed to read them, the FBI could no longer locate them. The single best piece of evidence in the case was lost. What follows is one of the largest airborne manhunts in American history. The FBI, the Air Force, hundreds of military personnel on foot, helicopters gritting hundreds of square miles of Cascade wilderness, divers dragging the bottom of Lake Merwin. They call it Norjack. It becomes the longest, most expensive unsolved case in the Bureau's history. Over 1,000 suspects, sketches in every newspaper on the continent. The serial numbers on all 10,000 bills go out through banking channels across the country and around the world. And for 9 years, nothing. Not a single bill spent. No trace of Cooper. A reporter garbles the name over a phone line. Dan Cooper becomes D.B. Cooper, a folk hero born out of a typo. Within a year, 15 copycats try the same stunt. Every single one is caught, and the industry bolts a metal wedge onto every 727 tail on Earth, so that staircase can never open in flight again. They call it the Cooper Vein. One man, one night, and he rewrote global aviation. February 1980, a sandbar on the Columbia River. An 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is clearing a campfire spot, and his fingers hit something in the mud. 3 bundles of $20 bills, rotted, disintegrating, still banded, $5,800. And every serial number is a perfect match. 5,800 out of 200,000. The other 194,200 has never been found. It's the first hard evidence in 9 years. It is also the last, because that money surfaced far outside the FBI's primary estimated jump zone, and that zone was always a guess. 50 years on, nobody agrees where he came down, but he did leave one thing behind: that cheap black clip-on tie. Decades later, researchers put it under an electron microscope and found titanium, rare earth metals, residues linked to aerospace manufacturing. In 1971, almost nobody worked around those metals, except the aviation industry. So what happened to the man in seat 18C? A chute he couldn't steer, a dead reserve, business shoes, a freezing wood at night. The FBI's own words, the evidence suggests he was not a seasoned jumper. But then, how did he know the flap angle, the speed, the altitude? Why did he choose the one airliner where this was actually possible? He knew everything about that aircraft, and almost nothing about jumping out of one. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI closed the case. Officially, 1,000 suspects, and not one could ever be proven to be him. Dan Cooper remains the only unsolved skyjacking in the history of commercial aviation. Did the wilderness swallow him whole? Or did he walk out of those trees, dry off, and spend 50 years watching the world guess his name? Nobody knows. And that is the point. Cooper conquered the open sky with nothing but nerves of steel. But what happens when the target isn't the open sky, the most heavily guarded vault on Earth? Passive infrared sensors, magnetic locks, seismic detectors, 100 million combinations. A vault built to be 100% impossible to break until a crew of masterminds decided to prove that nothing is. Next time, on Veil.